Every day, your cat watches you with the quiet intensity of an apex predator turned domestic philosopher. They notice every blink, every sigh, and every door you close behind you. To the uninitiated, the house cat appears as a stoic, independent figure. Yet beneath that velvet coat beats a heart that is more fragile, more devoted, and more attuned to your presence than you ever imagined. We often view our homes as shared spaces of convenience, but to a cat, the home is a sacred sanctuary governed by strict social contracts and ancient biological rhythms. When we unknowingly violate these unspoken rules, we don't just cause a momentary inconvenience. We chip away at the trust, joy, and quiet connection that defines their very existence. It is a slow erosion of the soul, one whisker-breaking truth at a time. The first and perhaps most profound betrayal begins at the threshold of your home. When you return after a long day and your cat races to the door with their tail held high and eyes wide, they aren't merely exhibiting curiosity. This is a formal ritual of love and reintegration into the pride. However, when we rush past them, distracted by the digital glow of our phones or the weight of our daily stresses, we miss the most emotional moment of their day. To a cat, this feels like being utterly overlooked by a best friend. They stand in the hallway, their social offering rejected, wondering if the bond has shifted. This sense of isolation is compounded when we assume they don't feel lonely during our long absences. They feel the weight of your distance and the silence of the rooms, and yes, sometimes that silence breaks their heart. This emotional sensitivity extends to the physical barriers we create within the home. We often seek privacy behind closed doors, particularly in the bathroom, viewing it as a mundane necessity. But to your cat, a closed door is a betrayal of the loyalty they show by simply wanting to be near you. They wonder why they are being excluded and what you might be hiding from the inner circle. Even the way we leave for the day can inflict a hidden wound. Rushing out with keys in hand and a mind full of meetings, leaving a half-asleep cat to watch the door close in silence, creates a sense of abandonment. A single word or a gentle scratch behind the ear serves as a "see you soon" that anchors their tiny universe and tells them they matter, even when you are gone. Furthermore, we often misinterpret the vocal and rhythmic nature of our feline companions. Cats are creatures of deep rhythm. They do not require perfect predictability, but they crave enough consistency to feel safe. When we sleep late, shift their meal times, or eat at odd hours, their entire world tilts like the sun rising from the wrong side of the sky. This disorientation is exacerbated by our own modern behaviors, such as talking loudly on the phone. Because cats do not understand the concept of a digital conversation, they only hear your voice becoming louder and more animated with no visible person in sight. This lack of context is confusing and often scary, leading them to wonder if your unexplained frustration is directed at them. They slink away, not out of indifference, but because their heart is quietly heavy with the weight of a misunderstood social signal. To live with a cat is to be a guardian of their peace, and the first step toward that guardianship is recognizing that every small interaction is a brick in the fortress of their trust. The domestic environment is an intricate tapestry of sensory inputs, and for the feline house philosopher, this landscape is defined by a sophisticated biological map. One of the most common mistakes humans make is scent drowning, the use of heavy essential oils, cleaning sprays, or scented candles. While these aromas may provide a sense of luxury to us, to a cat, scent is the primary medium through which they navigate and claim their territory. Strong artificial fragrances act as an invisible fog, drowning out the familiar pheromones that signal safety and belonging. When their favorite room suddenly becomes an alien landscape, their sense of security vanishes. This sensory violation is mirrored in our neglect of their most sacred space, the litter box. To a human, it is a chore. To a cat, it is a testament to their deep-seated instinct for cleanliness. Forcing a cat to use a dirty box is a profound betrayal of their nature, akin to a human being forced to walk barefoot in a bathroom that hasn't been flushed in days. Physical boundaries represent another critical pillar of feline biology. Every cat possesses no-go zones, such as the belly, the base of the tail, or the back paws. When we ignore the subtle mechanical signals of a twitching tail, a stiffening body, or a subtle flick of the ear, we are effectively disregarding their autonomy. Consent is a fundamental requirement for feline trust. A heart that is forced into affection too often will eventually withdraw into a defensive shell. This lack of respect for personal space is frequently seen when humans pick up a cat without checking their mood or play too roughly. What we perceive as playful wrestling can quickly escalate into genuine anxiety for a cat. They do not always know where the line of safety is drawn, and when we cross it by chasing or grabbing, the resulting fear leaves an invisible scar on the bond. Furthermore, the very architecture of our homes often ignores the evolutionary needs of the apex predator of the living room. Cats require verticality to feel dignified and secure. A home without cat trees, wall shelves, or window perches is a kingdom without a castle, stripping the cat of their ability to survey their territory from a position of power. This loss of perspective can lead to a state of constant low-level stress, which is often worsened by the lack of quiet retreats. In a world filled with the blaring of televisions, the hum of vacuums, and the jarring ring of doorbells, a cat's heart requires a silent sanctuary, a tucked-away hideaway where they can rest and heal. Even the way we label them matters. While some believe cats are indifferent to human language, they are actually highly attuned to the phonetic signature of their own names. If we only use their name during moments of scolding or as a cold summons for food, the name ceases to be a bridge of affection and becomes a signal of disappointment. Finally, we often fail them in the dark of night. While cats possess superior low-light vision, they cannot navigate in pitch-black conditions. Leaving a cat in a completely dark house for the night effectively blinds them in their own territory, creating an environment of isolation and confusion. A simple nightlight serves as a warm ember of safety, acknowledging their presence even when the rest of the world is asleep. By understanding these biological imperatives, we transition from being mere owners to becoming true guardians of their sensory and emotional well-being. The final pillar of a cat's emotional architecture is built upon the preservation of their dignity and the engagement of their predatory soul. We often mistake a bowl that is always full for generosity. Yet this free feeding inadvertently robs our cats of one of their greatest biological joys, the hunt. They were built by evolution to stalk, pounce, and earn their rewards. Without the challenge of food puzzles or pre-meal play sessions, their days lose purpose, and their sharp minds begin to dull from lack of enrichment. This stagnation is worsened when we leave their toys scattered across the floor at all times. When every feather and mouse is permanently available, nothing feels special. By rotating and hiding these objects, we transform a mundane living room into a landscape of surprises, telling our cats through action that we see them and want to engage with their primal essence. Perhaps the most painful mistake is scolding a cat for being a cat. When a glass is knocked over or a couch is scratched, the human instinct is often to raise a voice or, worse, use a spray bottle to correct the behavior. However, cats do not understand punishment through fear. They only know that the person they trusted most has suddenly become a source of anxiety. A scratch on the furniture is not an act of malice, but an expression of stress, boredom, or a fundamental need to mark territory. To punish these instincts is to leave invisible scars on their confidence. Instead, We must offer alternative scratching posts that serve as totems of peace, and toys that act as bridges for shared rituals. When we ignore their favorite toy night after night, we aren't just skipping a game. We are rejecting a social invitation, leaving them to wonder if they have done something wrong. As we look into the eyes of our feline companions, we must realize that their devotion is not a given. It is a gift that must be renewed every day through empathy and observation. If you have made these mistakes, do not be discouraged, for every blink is a new chance to listen closer and love deeper. A cat's heart is a fragile yet resilient masterpiece, more attuned to your presence than you may ever truly comprehend. When we honor their need for consistency, respect their sensory boundaries, and celebrate their predatory dignity, we do more than just care for a pet. We become the worthy guardians of an ancient, devoted spirit. If you have witnessed these signs in your own home, or have a story of how you mended the bond with your cat, let us know in the comments below. Together, we can ensure that every cat's heart receives the understanding it so deeply deserves. Don't forget to like and subscribe to join our mission of feline advocacy. The relationship between a human and a cat is a profound tapestry of silent understandings and delicate emotional balances. By moving beyond common misconceptions and embracing the sophisticated needs of these house philosophers, we can heal the hidden hurts of the past and forge a legacy of trust. Your cat's heart is a fragile yet devoted sanctuary. Treat it with the reverence it deserves, and you will find a loyalty that transcends words.